Hello students, bring to you the chapter of 6th standard English supplementary book, that is a pact with the sun, and the topic today that we discuss is the chapter that is the old clock shop. So let's start. It's a Christmas Eve and closing time for shops. Ray's old clock shop is still open and two shoppers call at this late hour. तो यहाँ पे एक शॉपर है, क्लॉक शॉपर है, उसके बारे में ये स्टोरी दिया है. Christmas Eve had arrived. As last minute shoppers were going home, a thick white sheet of snow lay over Salt Lake City, USA. Yet the lights were still burning in the old clock shop. As Ray, its old deaf owner, worked on a clock he had sold that day. So it was Christmas Eve means the night before Christmas Day, and it was very snowy, and everybody closed as the windy, cool and snowy. So everybody closed their shop and hurried to go their homes to celebrate the Eve. There was one shop open, its lights on, and the man walking inside name was Ray. So he worked on a clock that he had sold that day. Having finished his work, Ray stood up and was on his way to back room when a cold rush of air from the front door hit the back of his neck. He returned to meet a last-minute shopper, but his old wise eyes told him that this was not a shopper. So, what given here? So, Christmas Eve, as they are approaching Christmas day, so when he finished his work, Ray finished his work, he suddenly felt some cold rush of air from the front of the door. So he felt shocked that there were two men standing at the door. They did not look like customer because their wickedness tries to reveal something else. So he saw two men, one in his 20s and the other closer to 50. The younger man remained at the door. The older man approached the counter with no sign of friendliness in his eyes. Ray was able to hide his growing fear as he slowly pushed a notepad and a pencil across the counter. So, Ray observed that these two men were not the shoppers because of their wickedness, so that reveals something else. So that was pretty bad. So immediately Ray observed that the person who was approaching him gave him a notepad and pen and explaining him that he could not hear anything. As he was deaf, so he gave a notepad and explaining him that he could not hear anything. So then he smiled at the unfriendly face, then pointed to his ears and shook his head from side to side. A quick look of surprise changed the man's face as he studied the notepad, then returned and said something to his friend. Then the man immediately turned around to the young guy standing at the door, and while they discussing something, although Ray could not understand anything, but Ray observed him carrying something in his pocket. Okay, so friendly, Ray used to chance to look closely at the man, paying attention to the shape of a gun and a restless hand in the man's right coat pocket. Anger boiled within him, but it was kept down by an inner voice that said, "Be still." So when Ray observed that something there must be on the in the pocket of that man, so he observed that he must carry perhaps a gun in his pocket. In his other hand swinging in the other pocket. Ray immediately knew that there was something about to come, but although shouting or angry with them, Ray tries to play wisely. Okay, then he went to head and wrote on the notepad. He wrote on the notepad, "May I help you?" For the first time, the older man looked directly at Ray and smiled, a cruel, mocking smile. They both understood why he was there, why his friend remained at the door. They looked like men who were down on their luck and were now ready to try something they would later be sorry about. So, although Ray shouting or anger with them, so he played wisely. So he wrote on the notepad that, "May I help you?" तो वो उसके जवाब में लिखा था, "रे कि मैं कुछ आपकी सेवा कर सकता हूँ क्या?" तो ये देख के ना वो जो ओल्डर मैन था उसको वो थोड़ा चेंज हो गया. दैट इज़ सो दे लुक वो दोनों जानते थे कि वो दोनों क्यों आए हैं वहाँ पे.